Hello and welcome to this lesson. In this lesson we will talk about the Figma's user interface and how we can use some tools inside Figma. So we are now at the starting screen inside Figma. In Figma you can have multiple projects that can have multiple files. So let's start by creating a new file inside my existing project. For that you should go to the bottom left side of the screen under Themes, click on the plus next to the project and select Design File. This will open the artboard. Okay. So now I have an untitled file. Let's click on Untitled and change the name. Okay. Now we can go back to the main screen, click on the Figma icon, back to Files, and we can see that this file is already present inside my project. Okay. So we can now we can see that the starter account has some limitations, as we've previously talked about, as I can only have a maximum of 3 files inside each project. So let's now change the name of the project. You just simply have to rename it project 01. So now let's delete this project and create a new one. Again, project 1 for the name of the project, and let's create a new design file. We can change these wireframes and we can go back, create a new one, and we can change this to pages, for example. So now we can see that inside our project 1 we can have multiple pages that don't overlap. So if you create inside the pages file, if you create a rectangle and we go back, we can see that the wireframes page doesn't have a rectangle. So it's the best way to keep things separately. If you go to design a lot of things, remember that again, this account, the starter account, can only have up to 3 files. So we have now seen how to organize projects. So let's move into Figma's user interface. So let's open a page, a normal one, wireframes for example. So let's learn now what most of the buttons do on Figma. So on the top bar we can see the main tools when designing. At the center of the top bar we can see the file name and the project it belongs to. On the right side of the top bar we can see the people that are currently viewing this file. In this case it's just me. You can also share this file by sending it by email or copying the link. On the left side of the top bar we have the main button, the main menu button, where the Figma icon is, and you can search items with this search bar. It's the quickest way to search. So instead of going to shapes and creating a rectangle, you can simply search for rectangle, press enter, and create a new rectangle. So this one is where you can slice, you can cut some things, some shape, okay? And the frame, when you click on frame, it opens on the right side some default frames that Figma has to offer for phones, tablets, desktops, and so on. For phones, this is highly important because it allows you to create user interface for this exact model of the phone. Okay, so this is the cursor, where you can have the cursor to move and the cursor to scale. Okay, we mostly use the move cursor. You can have access to some basic shapes like rectangles, like lines, ellipse, polygons, stars. You can also place images from the file. This is the pen tool and the pencil tool. Text to create text elements, and the end tool to move around the canvas. You can also, instead of the end tool, you can use spacebar if you press it, and the left right click of the mouse to do the exact same function as the end tool. So finally, we can add comments to give feedback to other projects or to our own project. On the left side you can see a layers bar that usually by default it doesn't show anything, but once you start to populate your canvas with some shapes, you get the elements present on the layers menu. So you can see that now that we have our rectangle 1, rectangle 2, rectangle 3 inside the canvas iPhone 13. If you double click on the layer, you can rename it like this. Okay. And this button here is for assets, and this is where you will find all your components and your libraries. Now on the right side of the inspector, this is where we can change the canvas background. For example, we can change the canvas background, we can change its opacity, or we can even hide it. Okay. If I select, for example, this rectangle right here, this part will change. It gives me controls to change this element. It allows me to change the alignment of the rectangle, the position, the rotation of the rectangle. It even allows me to change and to create a rounded rectangle right here. We also have the option to choose the color fill and to add some stroke to the object. This number is the density of the stroke. So Figma has a lot of shortcuts to help you save time. This will come by experience, don't worry. If you click on the question mark right here and then on keyboard shortcuts, you will see on the bottom a list of all the shortcuts available inside Figma. If, for example, a shortcut appears in blue, it means that you have already used somewhere this shortcut. That's it for the Figma user interface. We'll see you on the next lesson.